Hello, fearless listeners and viewers. Welcome to the Diaries of Badass Bosses podcast. I'm Penny Joyner-Platt.
And I am Tigz Rice.
And we are back for season 2. Welcome. We're going to dive deep into the lives of extraordinary individuals who redefine what it means to be a boss.
That's right. This season we have lined up a stellar cast of guests who have shattered glass ceilings, forged their own paths, and inspired change in their respective fields.
I mean, we're not talking about traditional CEOs here. Our guests include entrepreneurs from a wide range of industries, making waves, challenging the status quo, and sharing their stories behind their journeys.
So whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur, a budding leader, or simply someone who loves hearing about tales of triumph over adversity, then you're in the right place. This is where stories of badass bosses come to life.
And as always, we are joined by our incredible producer, Connor Wells, who always makes sure every episode is an auditory masterpiece.
Thank you, Penny and Tigz. I am thrilled to be back for another incredible series of inspiring stories and unforgettable moments. Get ready for an absolutely incredible ride.
So stay tuned as we embark on this journey to explore the lives, dreams, and fearless endeavours of some of the most badass bosses out there.
Buckle up, because season 2 of Diaries of Badass Bosses is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Diaries of Badass Bosses. I'm Tigz Rice.
And I'm Penny Joyner-Platt.
And we are here bringing you another absolutely stonking episode. Yeah. I'm genuinely excited. I say this every week, but genuinely, this one actually means a lot to me, because today we're talking a lot about the subject of authenticity, and it's something that I'm bringing up constantly as a personal branding photographer, telling people to be there, showing up as their authentic self, and it's so important to me, and for you as well with your clients.
Yeah, I mean, for me it's social media. I mean, please be authentic. I beg of you. I cannot stand that this still is something that people feel they have to lie. They have to be someone else. They have to show up and just pretend. And I just genuinely don't think people buy from people, and I stress it every day, that they want to know who they're buying it from. And the most successful of all my clients are those that are just themselves. And I really applaud them, because I think you have to be brave to do it, but be really honest with yourself. But yeah, for me, it's the social media. Come on.
Yeah, and it's sharing beyond that highlight reel. I mean, it's so easy to go out there and be like, oh, I want to share all the best bits. But one of the things that has been coming up a lot in especially recent episodes of the podcast as well is sharing that vulnerability side, which people have been connecting with so much, in terms of going, you know what, being an entrepreneur, being the face of my brand can sometimes be hard. And I don't know about you, but when I put out the posts that are like, you know what, this is actually a little bit of a struggle. This is what I'm going through right now. And
I had a bad day today.
Yeah. That's
okay. It's all right to have a shit day and share it, because actually you'll make a lot of people feel better who've potentially also had. I'm going to be really honest. I'm actually having a bad day today. And that's just me. I was up all night with the little one, and I just feel quite tired. So I'm feeling a little bit flat on my normal self. So I'm going to be honest, and I'm going to share that, because
I love that share moment. And it's so important as well, in the fact that you're here and you're still showing up and being in that vulnerable place, and still being your best self. And I'm sure people are going to absolutely love that. I love you, and I'm going to give you a little cuddle.
Oh, thanks, babe. Thanks.
But on the subject of authenticity at work, you have you've gone through corporate career. You've had the high fly city corporate life, and now you're a successful female founder.
Oh, thanks.
How have you found that authenticity at work has been for you? Because they are two very completely different ways of showing up within the business world. Did you find that you could be authentic in the corporate world as much as potentially I feel that you can be as a female founder?
In the end, yes, but I didn't start out that way. Oh, no. I absolutely, I think I've shared this before, but I definitely took a big role once that I was definitely stepping up majorly for. And I was completely an imposter. I was I can do this. Why not? But yeah, no, for many years, actually, I was in my 20s. And so I was battling just that in life, just being in my 20s and thinking I knew everything. My boss even saying to me, Penny, you would convince me of anything, that you know so much. And I'm like, yeah, I know, it's all bullshit.
Wasn't it something like, you could sell ice to an Eskimo? I feel like that was the phrase that was used.
Every pitch that I went to was something completely different. Like, I literally went from like gala bingo to car fan belts or plumbing, which I know nothing about. But yeah, I'd go into that pitch and I would own it. But yeah, no, I definitely didn't for a very long time. And it wasn't until, I think, like, running an agency and having a young team and actually seeing their struggles and actually wanting to inspire them, I thought, hang on a second, this is in fact, like, I want to actually share with them. I know what it's like to be where you are at. And so I started actually just really owning how and who I was. Yeah. And actually that made me a better person. It made my team a lot stronger. And I enjoyed work a lot more as soon as I actually just shed all of that and really owned it. And now to actually then take everything that I learned and now put that into my own business every day, work with fabulous people, and just be really honest, I'm just very lucky. So yeah, I did go through a journey to get there though, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I never had that corporate life experience. I sort of came out of uni, graduated in July, well, technically graduated in November, but finished in the summer. And I went straight into self-employment. So I guess I've always worked for myself. And I'd like to say that journey has been as authentic. I would like to think it has, but actually one of the big eye-opening things for me has been like over the pandemic, and taking a step back from being somewhat more public facing and walking away and going, oh, actually, like, I can see that, like, I haven't really shared this that much publicly, but having gone on this journey of realizing that I'm probably somewhere in the neurodiverse camp and currently going through my ADHD diagnosis, realizing that taking a step back, I'd actually been masking quite a bit. And so showing up and saying, oh, like, this is how I am. And then realizing that the more that, and even when we've been around and I've been more comfortable sort of in the presence of people, my smile mask goes and you get to see my like really natural face, and oh my god, is it like, it's a death stare.
Can I just say, since filming this podcast, I have witnessed way more often Tigz's death stare. Like, I have to, like, I pause the video when I'm watching it on YouTube and I'm like, whoa, look at that face, Tigz. Yeah. Like, you go into this zone. Yeah. And it's resting bitch face massively. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it is. It really is. And I lose focus, so like I zone out of life. But yeah, it's like you
don't realise I'm actually kicking her under the table, like, look interested, love. Come on,
look like you're having a good time.
I mean, Connor, how is this for you, darling? Like, how do you feel about authenticity in your work?
I think authenticity is key, without a doubt. If you're not putting your authentic self out there, and sometimes that can be quite hard to do, it's quite a brave thing to do, whether it's talking about vulnerability, whether it's talking about your passions, your interests, it can be difficult to put your true authenticity out there. But I feel if you do, people can relate to you a bit more, whereas if you're putting a not authentic version of yourself out there, people, I think, will find it very hard to relate to you. They won't come back and watch your content or chat to you or engage and get involved in stuff.
Yeah, so true.
And our guest today is an absolute expert in this, and I'm just so excited to welcome you, Liz Villani, to our podcast today. You are the founder of Be Yourself at Work. Liz's journey from a successful career at a major retailer to becoming a trailblazing entrepreneur is a testament to your unwavering commitment to transforming the working environment. You've not only reimagined how we view work, but you've also ignited a global movement that encourages individuals to be their authentic selves in the workplace. Your dedication to making an opportunity for self-discovery and fulfillment is a perfect alignment with our spirit here at Diaries of Badass Bosses. We dare to challenge norms and create change. Your work with Be Yourself at Work and the innovative I Am tour are actively changing lives, promoting inclusivity and redefining the role of character values in the workplace. And honestly, I am so excited to hear what you have to say on the subject of authenticity, because Wow, what an introduction.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
I think you should all come and work at Be Yourself at Work.
Oh,
amazing. We'll talk. So I'd love to hear a bit about the early days of your career. So what were some of the key moments or experiences that paved the way to you and your entrepreneurial journey to become Be Yourself at Work?
Yeah, wow, how long have we got? Yeah, great to be here and just hear your stories. It's just got, I think there's an awful lot that we could talk about. So there wasn't one thing, I guess, that just defined this moment of going and starting this movement and company that helps you to be you. But essentially, I think the grounding was that I grew up in quite difficult circumstances in the Midlands, had challenges with poverty, and I grew up in a single parent family, and there was domestic violence involved, and ultimately growing up in the late 70s and 80s, that was quite sort of unusual compared to now. I got a job. So, having a job, my first job, I was 9 years old. It's shocking, isn't it? You just wouldn't be able to do it now.
I'm a Midlander as well, and I was 14. I think they're just we all started young in the Midlands.
We all started young, yeah. Wow. Must be something about Warwickshire. Yeah. But anyway,
what was the job?
Down there. So I was a chambermaid. So I used to cycle to the local hotel and help to make beds on a Saturday morning. And I just loved it because I could be me. I suddenly realised that I didn't have to be this mouse at home. And although I was good at school, and I've got a pretty clever brain, which has helped me certainly now as an entrepreneur. I literally found the structure of school almost kind of prison-like, That's just part of my values, which we'll come on to talk about values. But so I went from one job to another throughout my teens, and I just realised that I could make a difference. I could experience who I was, when I was in that space and in that world. So obviously we had to stick with school and everything else, but I think that was the root of it. And then I knew really clearly what I wanted to do. So I was really focused. I decided I wanted to be a buyer for Sainsbury's. I was absolutely obsessed with it. We couldn't really afford to go to supermarkets, so going to a supermarket was like, wow. And I just used to watch what people put in their trolleys and their baskets. And I still do it now. I'm awful. I'm really bad, because I try and work out who you are. And for me, that feeling of being able to make you happy by something that you ate or you shared or was an indulgence or something like that in your kitchen, essentially, would touch your life and touch you. And I was just obsessed by it. So everything rolled up into applying for that job, and I got that job, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I was really good at it, and I learned a lot that gave me the grounding and the fight and the drive to do this. Yes. Wow. Yeah. So that's kind of the beginnings.
That's amazing. And where did the idea of authenticity and being yourself, like how did you get from this buyer role into where was the shift? Where was the light bulb moment along that route?
Really interesting. And just listening to your stories and you talk just in this podcast. So we literally change. So, you can see it in any social situation. If, as a parent, you see it in the playground or when you're picking up your kids from nursery or whatever. We start to change and adapt our behaviour automatically as humans so that we're seen to be competent in the case of work, or liked or fit in. And I could see all around me that this was happening, but then it happened to me. So I became corporatized, and I just found that there was nothing really that could help me or the people around me to be ourselves, to really, really help ourselves. I had to go through restructure a few times. I loved that job. Oh my God, I just loved it. I was heartbroken when we had to go through structural change, which is just the way of the world. And it got to the third time, and we were sat in a meeting with our trading director, who was fabulous. And he just basically said, look, everyone's got a brown envelope. You all go to your rooms, you read the script. It was done really well. It was done really well. But for me, obviously, something in me just said no more. You've got something else, a bigger job to do, because it got to me and I had a million questions. And I couldn't speak. I completely lost literally. And I was so embarrassed. I mean, you think I was quite senior, you're corporate, and you literally just crying your eyes out and you can't speak. So I just stood up, and the next day I resigned. And about 6 months before that, I'd been doing some research around coaching. So I used to travel into work on the Thames Link with a really good friend who's in marketing, quite a senior level. She gave me a book on coaching and said, Liz, you need to read this book. The book was Be Your Own Life Coach by Fiona Harold. So really old book, really simple book about coaching. I'd never even heard of coaching, apart from maybe sports coaching, which I obviously don't do. And I read this book, and she said, you need to read this book because this is what you do and you just don't realise it. So that really gave me a little bit of inspiration to go, actually, maybe there's something that I could do to really help people to really love their work again and know who they are so they can be themselves. So that was kind of the route. So I resigned, moved to Lincolnshire, sat at my kitchen table and began, essentially.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. I love that so much. So launching a business, as we all know, is a huge undertaking.
Yes.
I mean, are we mad? Literally.
Definitely.
Give us a bit of your experience of that and what the challenges you faced on this journey.
Yeah, I mean, oh my gosh, there's so many, isn't there? I think the beginning, we've always been pushing water uphill. So today we're sat here talking about being yourself at work as if that's like something that's very important and new. But I've been doing this for over a decade, and we've been talking about performance coaching culture and a coaching culture at work and all of this stuff. So be yourself at work and knowing your values was something that was way ahead of its time. And I'm quite stubborn. So my values, I've got quite a lot of rebellion in me in a positive way. So I was like, well, why would I kind of create something that's just to build on what already exists? I want to really make a difference here and create something new. So a few years after I began, a client said, he hadn't worked with me, he'd worked with one on our team, said, can I meet you and hear your story? And I was like, yeah, of course, we'll have a coffee or whatever. I hope and get some work out of it or whatever in the long term. But anyway, he said, oh my God, you're blue ocean. And I was like, well, I've no idea what that means. So I looked it up and he said it's a Harvard business technique that basically you ignore the market, you completely ignore it, you come from a completely position of innovation and freshness, and you create something totally new that transforms the world forever or your market forever. And that's what you did. So I literally sat at my kitchen table on my own with a young baby, all those years ago, and just said, what is it that makes us become this person we think we need to be to look impressive? How can I create a way of all of us understanding who we really are so that we can use that and have the confidence to be ourselves? So that was I am. So, and every time my daughter slept, my laptop opened, and everybody who knew me got developed and coached and researched and used metrics and measured it and all of that kind of stuff. And that's kind of how it was born. So the challenge obviously was that inventing something that wasn't required potentially in a market that didn't exist, at the same time as being a young mum, and going from this daily corporate kind of surrounded by people that commute, lots of success, to I'm here on my own and I've got no money. And like literally I didn't earn a penny for 2 years. My first salary was I bought my daughter when she was 2 a playground for the garden, and that was it. So it really has been amazingly challenging, but it's worth it, because the impact that I see on people around me and around us as a group is amazing. So yeah, that's where we started. And then I literally, every time, we talk about imposter syndrome, don't we, now? We're a global business. That's why I look exhausted, quite frankly, as well as being an entrepreneur.
I was going to say,
I really
for those of you that are just listening and on audio at the moment, she looks fabulous. So,
that's very kind of you. It's amazing what lipstick can do.
Oh, I know.
So we have a team in Sydney. So I, before the pandemic, I was going there like 5 or 6 times a year.
Wow.
Which it sounds great, but
the
my
is
God,
horrific.
yeah. I mean, literally, I do. I've talked about it before. I've been described as a machine. I do 16-hour days. I have a swim. I have 6 hours sleep, and that's it. And I'm on it. I do nothing but work when I'm there. And we have a team in the US as well, on the east coast of the US.
So you're doing the same 6 times a year there as well?
No, I'm managing to do that remotely at the moment, but that's going to ramp up. But every time I get on a plane, or I'm a trade champion for the Department of Business and Trade for the United Kingdom. That sounds very posh, doesn't it? But every time I get on a plane or do something like that, I've got a panel next week for them. You think, what are you doing, Liz? Really? We all have that.
So I want to know, as someone who travels regularly for business, what are your top tips for business travel, for like long distance travel? Because, I I haven't been since COVID, but sort of before then, I was doing a lot of trips to Europe. But I mean, I've done the Sydney flight, 23 hours, I think it was, with a layover. So what are your top tips for people who are traveling? How do we stay fresh on 6 hours sleep on a plane?
It's a really good question, isn't it? No, so I do have a strategy when I go to Sydney, and it starts the day before. So I drink Diaries non-stop for the 24 hours ahead, and then when we change, so just before we come into land in Singapore or whatever you're changing, hydration, but you can still drink loads of wine. So
great, that's good.
That's because I just couldn't do it.
Balance. It's all about balance.
Everyone at home was panicking.
Everyone has a crutch, but so no, that's the first thing. The second thing is and it sounds really boring, but diet. I honestly find that if I eat fish and vegetables, my whole body feels fresh. Whereas if I eat like a curry or something heavy or like red meat and stuff like that, it's just awful. And no work on the plane.
Switch off on the plane.
So I've literally been like on calls as we're getting on the plane, and like literally like standing in the queue and I'm answering emails. But the minute I go on that plane, that's it.
Headphones in.
Headphones in. Well, maybe I spend a lot of time with myself. So one of the things that I found on this journey is most of us have quite a difficult relationship with ourselves. Most of us are quite negative to ourselves. We'll talk to ourselves negatively. We'll beat ourselves up. We'll be super critical. We'll compare ourselves with all of that stuff. And one of the things that I think is really important, and I teach our clients, is to really know you and to spend time with you without distraction. So one of the things I'll do is they probably look like a bit of a raving nutter on the plane sometimes, but I really will just sit there. I'll just sit there and I'll just reflect and think, and I'm not working, I'm not allowed to think about work, but just be, and that sounds very zen and everything else, but actually I might watch a film, but normally it's one, either way, that's it.
Yeah.
And just take the time.
I normally try and get a window seat, and
Yes.
I love watching clouds and like cloud formations, and oh my God, I'm going to get really geeky about light, but like, like when you get like golden hour when you're flying over and watching the sunset go down, and actually I say I don't work, but if there's a really good sunset, I'm absolutely being that person that tells everyone to get out of their seat so I can grab my camera so I can shoot out the window.
She's that annoying person.
I'm that person.
But
Sorry,
what a great
James.
TV that window is, that is just, and I think when you run your own business, you girls know, you don't get downtime, so have that downtime. I use it completely as downtime.
Gosh, I definitely need to take a leaf out of your book then, because I need to book a flight. Just go flying. Literally, just get a break from the kids.
Exactly. Completely.
I think the thing is, actually, I think I probably would do that now.
Yeah.
But I know when I was agency and I was traveling, I actually used to be finishing off polishing the pitch, or always working. I have to say, that was my flaw.
Yeah.
But I think now, I actually do think now I would actually take that time, being a mum of two, and
it's the only time I ever do it.
Yeah.
And I'd rather get up almost like when I'm away, or if I'm up at 4, if I wake up because of jet lag and I can't sleep, I just work.
Yeah. So I basically need international clients, is what you're telling me.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Putting that out to the
strategy
universe.
for 2024. So the I Am tool is a unique aspect of your business. Could you delve a little bit deeper for us? How it was developed and the role that it plays in helping individuals.
Yeah, of course. And the key with being yourself is that it's really hard to be you if you don't know who you are. And that, we measure it, only 16% of us feel we can be ourselves at work, and only a quarter of us actually know who we are, but we challenge that even. So if you say to people, who are you? If I said to you, who are you? What would you say?
I'm an incredibly awesome person that's very creative. I don't know. But then I've done quite a lot of work in especially in the last few years, sort of. So I'm very much at peace with what this is, I suppose.
Yeah.
Very comfortable.
But it's
with my
hard
creative
often
self.
to articulate. So you've given me a couple of bits there around creativity. So you're awesome. So you're already, I can see you're a positive person, that you're a creative person. So even those two things, knowing that, most people, when you say to them, who are you? They'll go, this is my name, my history, my story, where I live, my friends, my family, my job, all of that. And then if you carry on asking, you'll generally get like the labels and, I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm all of this kind of stuff. And then you'll get the self-doubt because they're starting to trust you. So then you get, oh, I'm not a very nice person really, and I really worry what people think about me, and I feel like an imposter. That's just me. No, it's not. So it comes back to defining who you are. So with I am, the whole point is that if you're going to be you, know who you are. And, you're not all of those things, and where you live and your family and your self-doubt and all those kind of things. You are a unique character. So what all I am does is help you to describe yourself, your values in your own words. And then it shows you how to be you. So for you, you would have start positively, bring creativity, really even that really simple frame, that simple articulation, you'll be able to feel more like you and be able to make that difference, rather than thinking, oh, I'm a mum, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm gay, I'm straight, I'm whatever. Actually, I'm just going to be creative and positive because that's what makes me me.
One of the questions, because I spend a lot of time, obviously both of us spend a lot of time in networking, and so there's a lot of what do you do, but one of the questions I've started asking people is, what brings you joy in life? Like what makes you you? And it does really disarms people, but when you ask them to tap into their joy and they're just like, oh well, actually I really love this, and then you actually start learning
who they are,
which is actually normally the core of their why. And I love asking that question.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Yeah, because it is good. And as I say, I think when you do networking, and it does feel flat sometimes because people do the whole, what do you do? Like, and it's just, you can see them repeating the same standard
elevator pitch.
Not like you, Connor, that you have yours down pat, darling.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's a work in progress.
But if you can know who you are, so know your I am. So I know that I'm driven by closeness. I've met you for the first time today. I'm like boundaryless. I talk to you like I've known you forever. That's part of me. That's part of my values. I also know, as I've described, that I'm quite rebellious. I'm quite matriarchal, but I'm very kind as well. So those are things that I absolutely know that are in my I am, that I need to amplify when I think about what I do at work and my natural reputation. I know how to start a conversation or begin, because I know the values that are what we call the bedrock at the bottom of my I am. I need to stop and be still. I need to have done a little bit of homework because I've got competence in there as a value. So I can literally see, and I've got my cards here, I can actually see in front of me. So I'm actually reminding myself of who I am so that I can really practically be me. Yeah. And articulate
not wing it.
I'm not winging it. No, I'm not winging it. I think that comes back to entrepreneurship. When you've been through the journey of having your own business, I think one of the magical things that happens is that you just stop being self-conscious. In the end, you just go,
you have to.
Yeah.
Especially, again, when it comes back to that authenticity and showing up. How you mentioned boundaries in there, or being boundaryless, which is a wonderful term. As someone who works within a business and you're tapping empathically into how other people are feeling and helping them bring that out, how do you manage your boundarylessness with having to have potentially some work boundaries as well? How do you deal with that conflict between self and occupation?
That's really interesting. I don't have a line. So most people have a line down them that says, this is me at work and this is me at home. And we all think we should switch off, for example, from work or a client. We teach our users with I am to just not try and switch off. Because why would you? It just says that work is an intrusion on your life, for one, which in our world it shouldn't be. It's something that you have to play to make your difference, and those things. It's reframing it. But I think having that boundary, I would absolutely encourage everybody to get rid of it. Just be flexible. Try and mix your thinking throughout the day. It's like saying, well, you're at work, therefore, how dare you think about your children? Because you're at work. Because you're at work, you should be switched off from your children. You're here at work now. You just don't. As human beings, you can't switch that off, can you? And personally, as boundaries, I'm really good at that. So I think I've spent a lot of time, especially in the early years when I was doing a lot of the delivery myself. Yeah. I would have like 7 or 8 client calls in a row throughout the day to pack them all in. And you can't let one spill into another, because what's going on for one person isn't going on for someone else. So I'm a master at kind of just dividing my brain and going, I'm not going to think about that. I'm going to think about this, which has really helped me with the business as well.
That's amazing. And I also just love that you've said the phrase, I am a master of, because to have that confidence and, you know, you're clearly practicing what you preach, so which is incredible. Be Yourself at Work has grown into a global movement. What strategies or approaches did you employ to gain recognition and build a dedicated following for your mission?
Wow. That's
You needed a gold for that one.
I think, So with the movement, you know, I just get so passionate about the fact that work is just not negative. It doesn't have to be a negative. You know, we, in my view, completely exist to change the narrative of work. You know, work should be something that you do to experience who you are and make a difference, not something that you dread on a Sunday night, you know, or you know, really fear that kind of Monday morning and wish you'd rather be at home. We know 41% of people now see work as an encroachment on their lives. You just think,
That's
what?
sad.
Yeah, so sad. You know, you're certainly missing out on such an amazing window to be yourself. So so the movement exists to really help everyone in the world to be able to see work positively, make work popular again, you know, and I won't start talking about the economy and politics, everything else, but you know, it will help all of us to do that. So it's been quite a journey. I mean, throughout COVID, we kind of had to shrink. I had 3 choices to make in COVID because everything stopped overnight. Nobody wanted to spend money. Most of our work comes from budgets around learning and development and training, and you know, so sometimes that can be a nice to have. So the minute we went into lockdown, that was gone. It was overnight gone. And anyone who had actually booked work, I had to take on myself personally, no matter where they were in the world, so I could furlough all of our team. Not that we'd even knew, you had to look at what furlough was and ask a friend. You know, we were all, weren't we, completely, you know, what's going on. So I was we either give up, never. We either kind of shrink, if you like, and just kind of play it safe, or we absolutely use this time to go for it. So me being me and being my I am and my values, I just went, right, we're absolutely going to go for it. So we saved every single penny. We worked really hard and we managed to save enough money to use one of our clients who's brilliant brand had a brilliant brand consultancy to help us to really articulate our business and the movement in a completely different way. So we rebranded, we renamed, we relaunched, new logos, new website, new team, new marketing coming out the other side.
Wow.
Of COVID. You could buy a house with what we spent. It's just terrifying. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we can't go buy another house. You know, we literally had to work our socks off and be really lean as an organisation, as a business, to be able to make that investment. And it was, even then, it was so scary to do. Everything got relaunched, our products, our branding, the PDFs, the digitalisation, all of that got changed and shifted. And now we have the movement, we have ambassadors, we went through investment last year, which was great.
Oh, wow.
I loved it. That's a whole other podcast. That was really great. So we've got a really clear strategy now that it's about helping to make work popular again, you know, and you being you.
I really do love that.
Yeah, me too.
I love that for people though. That's the thing. I want people to enjoy. I'm lucky that I love what I do.
Yeah.
You know, my husband always says to me, like, I just see the light in your face, you know, and I can see what you've been doing today, or you're talking about it or something. It's like you just, you know, and that's, I like the idea. Yeah. Well, I like the idea as well that, you know, also my kids get to see that. And that's why I like what you were saying about when you're at home, you don't stop. I mean, my work is at home, so I mean, it literally, you know, I am there anyway. Yeah. But I just love that thought process, and I think a lot of people should really embrace that, and probably don't even think of it that way. So that's what you're doing. Is absolutely getting people to talk about it. And do you have your own podcast?
Yeah, so we have a couple of podcasts actually on the website. So we just second generation of the new one 2 weeks ago. So there's some podcasts on that people can listen to about understanding who they are, growing their confidence, the role that work plays in their lives, and those things too.
Amazing. Because that's it, isn't it? People can absorb that then.
Can just listen and just, because no one talks about these things.
No, that's the thing. It's unspoken. Like,
And we've just launched a new product that's completely free. Be Yourself at Work, completely free. And that's part of the movement. So if you're looking for work, if you're suddenly made redundant, currently there's a lot in the press about, liquidation and companies going under. And it's really scary time. When you lose your job or you lose your business or, and even kind of graduates coming into recruitment. I think it's hard. And we don't sell ourselves, do we? We don't know how to sell ourselves. So we've literally created a completely free I Am that people can go on to beyourselfatwork.com. They can complete their own I Am for free in 30 to 45 minutes, use it in interviews, attach it to their CV so they can be recruited for who they are, as well as what they know. There's a downloadable banner for LinkedIn. Just
There's
because it's about the
Yeah.
movement. It's about helping people to see work as themselves, not just something that they do because of their education or to pay the bills.
I mean, you mentioned as well that you're constantly obviously gathering data so that everything is being constantly understood.
Yes.
Where are we at in the industry right now, or no matter what industry you work for? And you also mentioned about a survey as well that I think you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no, definitely. Please go and do the Be Yourself at Work survey. If you scroll down at the homepage of beyourselfatwork.com, there's a link to the survey, and hopefully you'll see these. We've had thousands of these printed. They're being left on tubes and trains and all sorts. No, not really. So the survey, we did one in 2020, and it was a really simple survey. This is before we had better tech and things like that. I wanted to look at how much people could be themselves at work and what stopped them. So we know that most of us don't feel confident enough to be ourselves. We also describe ourselves negatively most of the time when we talk about being ourselves. And we saw from that survey that, feeling valued, being liked, recognition, being given autonomy, being, trusted are all things that fuel us, but actually are out of our control. And so it gave us loads of data. I'll just tell you one stat because I could talk forever about the first survey. But the number one, my favourite stat that came out of it was that over 70% of men said they never have a positive conversation with themselves.
Wow.
70%.
Over 70% of men. So on the inside, that inner critic, like with women, we tend to compare ourselves to others. That's what came out. That was our number one challenge. Compare and then contrast and then beat ourselves up, for not being as good in some way. But for men, there's this silent critic. And you can't see that. So my top tip for all of us women is for the men in our lives and the ones we work with, ask them what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on the inside today. What are your thoughts? Yeah. So we did the first survey and it's amazing. It's the first survey, and we're repeating it, but we're expanding it. So it's really about, can you be you? What stops you being you? But it's also now looking at the role of work. Would you work if you didn't have to? And so there's some questions in there that I love. It takes 5 minutes. Around, did you have a dream job as a child? And at the moment, the first 100, I did a cut of the first 100 responses because I was desperate. I just wanted to see what was coming out. And 84% of people had a job or an industry that they dreamt of working in, but only 18% of those people actually ever went into any of that world. So whether you wanted to be a policewoman or a teacher or whatever, that dream, that excitement about work that you had, something vanishes. Big part of it so do the survey because the more people we can get to do the survey, the better.
Did you have a dream job as a kid?
Of course I did.
What did you want to be?
Dancer.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I started at the age of 3. I did it every single day of my life. Then went to stage school and then realised that it was never going to pay for my very expensive taste. So that's why I dipped out.
Do you dance at home? Do you dance?
I do dance at home with my boys. But it's something I was very passionate about, but I realised wasn't going to be I need to be consistently doing something and get better and better and better at it. And I felt like for me, the dancing theatre world, you have to jump in and out, and for me that's not good enough. Right. How can you be your best self when you can only do it now and then, or if someone tells you can do it? And that's how it felt. So for me, actually, it's what then got me into what I do now in PR and marketing and all of that. And
you just have to dance at the beginning of each podcast.
Yeah, it's fine. I dance always. But it gave me that confidence as well. Yeah. And like when I was at stage school, it's like as I say, I love pitching. For me, that's a performance in itself, so it kind of has played a bit of a part. So, yes. So,
Connor, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
Probably the most, TISM thing ever, train driver. I say all, yeah.
That's so
Have you ever
cute.
done it?
No. It would have been quite handy since like there's no trains ever running these days. So it would have
Be
been
off work quite a lot at the moment.
yeah, literally, yeah. No, I'm very happy with where I've landed career-wise. Get to create cool things for cool people.
Nice.
I had two. I wanted to be an astronaut. That was never going to happen.
Wow.
And
But
then
you say that, but it could have happened.
I mean, it potentially could have, but also like I have a massive fear of falling, and I don't think falling from space is probably going to be the one. And then neurosurgeon was the other.
Wow.
I really wanted to go into science. I was sort of pursuing it until I failed my psychology A level, so it was like go back or go forward with the art route. But yeah, they were my two very wildly different ones that I wanted to be. So yeah, I guess I would be in that 18%, but very happy where it ended up.
I mean, actually now talking about like looking to the future, like what does that for you right now? Because obviously you are now doing something that means a hell of a lot to you. What does the future look like?
It's pretty scary and pretty exciting all at the same time. So it's taken. I talked earlier about Blue Ocean, and the world not really being ready for be yourself at work, and using values to define your success at work and those things. That's changed. So we've now got some amazing partnerships and clients, and our vision is that everybody will be a workplace name. So everybody will be able to know, and everyone has the right to know who they are and their values and be them. So it's really about global expansion now. It really is. It's always been about changing the world and global domination for me. That's just in my I am.
Absolutely.
And that's just not going to stop. So it really is about making a difference, but also helping people, like I said, around, be recruited for you, helping people to really, rethink the way they think about work. Yeah. So fingers crossed, it'll keep continuing. Yeah.
Incredible. I think it might be time for a quick fire round. What do you say?
Go for it.
So we have 3 questions that we like to ask everybody. So answer them as quickly as you can.
Okay.
What is your best business accomplishment?
Oh, wow. I think it has to be the results from I Am. So, for example, people with an I Am are twice as excited about their work and their career going forward, and they stop comparing themselves to others and those things. So I think genuinely it's about all the people that say it's changed their lives and feel more positive about themselves. It's got to be, I know I should say, working with HSBC or whatever, but or investment, but that would be it.
Making the change.
Yeah.
What is your favourite productivity hack?
A productivity hack, oh my God. So I'm a massive planner. So I think I work so fast and so hard that I always plan a day ahead and a week ahead. So I'm pretty organised. So I know that sounds like, I know I should say I go to the gym. We already know I don't. And all of those things, but actually just really being organised. I take the few seconds, the 5 minutes or the few seconds before a team's meeting to do something brave. Always. So I'll reach out to someone or I'll send an email to someone just to say you're amazing or celebrate them, just to be brave and reach out.
I love that.
Yeah.
What a great answer. What's one thing that the internet does not know about you yet?
Oh, well, it's starting to change. So I did an interview recently about my work day, because people are always asking me what it's like to be me in terms of the work side, and how I work. And I was like, shall I share it? Shan't I share it? Shall I share it? Shan't I share it? So, and I thought, oh God, I probably should. So right at the end of the interview, I said, I do have a crystal ball and I love tarot. And that was my little secret.
Ooh.
Yes.
What crystal is your crystal ball?
Oh, it's just literally a clear quartz. Yeah, a clear quartz crystal. But I'm always covered in crystals. I've always got cards generally with me, and I'm very intuitive. So that's probably something that the world now is starting to realise. But it's got nothing to do with my work. It's just something I love, and I'm intrigued by how it can all work, particularly from a science perspective.
What kind of crystals? Here's a question. What crystal do you have on you today?
I have a smoky quartz with me. So that's for grounding. And then I have a sunstone. In fact, I've got a sunstone on my wrist now and a howlite. So this is about not overthinking it, because we can all do that, howlite. And it's both from Australia, and this is a sunstone, which is all about positivity. Yeah, not that I need positivity, but I love that radiating sun feeling.
Yeah.
So for me, that's probably something the internet doesn't quite know yet. That I love all that stuff.
Oh,
Definitely
wonderful.
need to start looking into crystals more and what they mean, because like there's some beautiful ones, but I will be honest, the ones that I do have mostly collected because they're shiny and beautiful and like not the actual reason. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think we need as much help as we can get. You know, doing this, having your own business, you need all the help you can get. And if a crystal can make you smile, or you know, even if you think it's lovely and shiny, great.
Yeah, there's one. I can't remember its name. I want to say it's something like fairy something, but it's this one that's like clear, but it's like full rainbow. It has a rainbow effect.
Wow. Like a moonstone almost. It's quite
like a clear, not like milky like an opal, but like, but apparently it's like a good luck sort of cleansing bad luck one. So apparently it's a good one to have around. So I need to do more research into that. But
it's worth it, isn't it? Just to have.
Thank you for sharing. Well, I've got lots of things to go away and think about.
Yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. And talking about imparting wisdom, is there anything else that you would love to share with our wonderful listeners and viewers at home?
Just be yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I think if that was one thing that I would just sum up, just go and be yourself. Go and be you. Yeah, don't compromise that.
And if anyone's been listening and has really resonated and is like, you know what, I need to feel more positive at work, I want to feel myself, where is the best place that they can go and find your resources?
So yeah, go to beyourselfatwork.com. So that's the first thing. We also have the hashtag beyourselfatwork on LinkedIn. And you can just connect with me, Liz Villani, Be Yourself at Work on LinkedIn. I'm always on there. So yeah, just there's podcasts, there's information that people can look at. You can get your free IAM, you can get a free little experience. There's lots of resources there to help people to be themselves. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's honestly been incredible just to hear your positivity and to be so open and authentic, which is the whole point of this podcast episode with your journey. We are so appreciative of your time. And wow, I can't believe we're at the
episode,
end. I know. This season is going so quickly.
Well, we're not going to be doing seasons anymore, though, are we? This is the new information for everybody. If you didn't catch our last episode, is that actually we're going to keep going. We don't want to take a break from you. We love you too much. But we just felt it was important that we're going to share some more episodes, actually, with Tigz and myself and Connor. Actually just talking about things that we've actually learned over the last 2 seasons, because I do think that like we've learned so much, and I'm sure everyone at home as well has. So if you do have any questions that you'd like us to cover, please actually drop them in the comments below, or you can also contact us via our social media channels as well. But yeah, put some questions to us, and we'll start putting them into some of our shows.
Absolutely. We would love to hear what you want to hear from us. Maybe there's some burning topics, burning questions that you might want covered, or maybe just hear our unique perspective on it between the 3 of us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, everyone. We will be back next week with another great episode. So please tune in. And that's it from me.
And from me. We will see you next week with another dose of Badass Boss energy. See you then.